here in Le Mans, everybody wondering what's going to happen with the weather. We start the warm-up lap, slick time.
Fabio Quartararo and his championship rival, the leader overall, Pecco Bagnaia. Don't discount. They can't think about the weather for the time being. They just have to race what's in front of them. Circuit winners in the past here. Marc Marquez won. Danilo Petrucci in that wet race.
Yeah, since we came back to Le Mans in 2021, long years ago now, there's only been two here. We just saw their Marquez on board. If this does go to a flag-to-flag, well, the past master in a flag-to-flag scenario was certainly Bulls. There you can see on board with the World Championship leader Pecco Bagnaia, 2 points, a narrow 2-point advantage he has. Awful lot of work to do, Mir, from 14th place on the grid, middle of that 5th row for him. And what about Zarco? Canary is the only French rider who's ever tasted a Premier Class victory on home soil in MotoGP history.
Lines up on pole position. It will be eyes on the lights in a minute. It might be eyes on the skies in a lap or two. It is just... Away we go! A decent start off the line initially from Quartararo. Jack Miller, though, has got his Ducati power going. The Bologna...
Number 3, great start then by Jack Miller. He leads, winner last time out in Jerez from the 2 factory Yamahas. Quartararo,
Petronas Yamahas. Miller leads from Maverick Vinales. Marquez there, up to 4th, but he goes wide, immediately back through the Japanese rider.
This is again Honda on Honda. He picks up the Japanese man, and that allows Pol Espargaro to come through as well. So 3 Hondas engaged.
Teammate Pol Espargaro, number 44. Rossi, number 46, goes through on his teammate Morbidelli. He moves up into 7th.
Pol Espargaro.
He's gone straight on there at turn number 11, and I think he's gone down. He has gone down.
He was trying to use his face.
He's called that knee already once this weekend.
That's that problem with that left knee again. So a disaster for Morbidelli. Dramatic first lap here in front. Again, Nakagami this time sweeps up the inside of Marquez into turn 3.
And look at Alex Rins. What a start from the
turn 5. Bit of wheel spin. It just pitched him off the wrong line going down the hill into La Chapelle. Wide open. Vinales came on through. Alex Rins, he started 15th. Back of the 5th row. He's inside the top 4.
Really feels like we're going to get rain here. Start. He's up to 7th ahead of Oliveira and Mir. Vinales it is, though. The leads here in France. And Morbidelli, etc., has dropped all the way back to 13th, so he was hurt, really, in all of that, and not quite sure what happened. Virtual fan war, fans gathered all around the world, the 4 corners of the globe that have enjoyed this so far. It's been pretty fast and frenetic. Fastest man on the... 3 we go. The treacherous turn 3. 12 is Vinales, the race leader. Simon Crafar just reporting as Mir aggressive. Exactly what he's talking about. It's coming.
There is Zarco then through La Chapelle. He's lost another place on that last lap. He's now down 11th place. In a pre-race, so they expected early rain from LCR Honda. Simon Crafar down in pit lane says there are spots of rain now starting.
Every single rider. These guys are the best in the world, but when you get spots of rain on your visor, this is where he was making a move on Nakagami.
Yeah, got to be careful now. The guys are into the 4th sector, and there are rain spots starting to fall quite heavily on our comms. Disconcerting to see that on your visor. Very, very difficult. You've got to now judge the conditions perfectly.
Leads, the spots of rain are getting bigger. Quartararo comes into the mix. He's way too hot in there. Surely he is, but he had the inside. So wish as Quartararo leads.
What a move by Fabio Quartararo. How far back did he come from going into turn? Rain spots falling. That was bold and brave in the extreme, and unbelievable move by Quartararo.
Here comes him back and giving him a nudge. Quartararo says hello, Jack. Now in the background there you can see Marc Marquez is starting to
paint from the factory Yamaha. He might have a black and blue right arm after that contact down at Garage Fair. Quartararo has another long look over his left shoulder.
Is that Franco Morbidelli trying to restart somewhere? Anyway, into Raccordomont, turns 13 and 14. Here are your top.
It's the master of these changing conditions. Marc Marquez in 4th place. It's Miller that leads, though, at the start of lap 5.
We've got rain falling here in pit lane, and on our commentary box window, a lot more than it was as well. Fabio Quartararo leads.
The rain is starting to lash down on our commentary box position. Look at that, it's almost horizontal. Slick tyres on 300 horsepower motor.
Goes through into 3rd. These guys are on slick tyres, guys, and it is pouring down.
We cannot tell you later. Will he come in and change to his wet weather bike? Marc Marquez in 3rd place. We know he's always the master tack, pounding down in the 3rd and 4th sector.
Bagnaia been told to make the tyre change. Come into the box. Surely you've got to. It's chucking it down.
Oh, the Australians.
Surely you've got to come into pit lane, Matt. You've got to.
Quartararo He's done it, he's done it. He left it late.
Morbidelli makes it back into pit lane. It's not just raining, it's raining cats and dogs. Quartararo, elbow to elbow with Marc Marquez. In conditions like this, he is going to lead.
Well, he had the big advantage. Where the position of the Repsol Honda garage
well now. We've not seen this in 4 years, and there are a number of Mir's gone down as well. Disaster for the world champion.
Costly is that for Mir? He's just about to come into the pits.
I know.
On his way in for a bike swap, and he's crashed.
Here we go then. Prince down immediately.
First corner. First time he's flicked it right out of the pit exit, and he's gone down. It's another 30 to 40 seconds for the factory Suzuki team. Mir and Rins both on the floor.
This is going to be hard to keep up with, but Marc.
There was nobody better on planet Earth in this situation. New tyres, new scenario. He was able to get out there.
There's a bit of a twitch on exit as well. Repsol Honda rider Marc Marquez is leading from Fabio.
Position. The wind has just picked up unbelievably.
There were reports yesterday we could have gusts of 50
lane speed limit in MotoGP of 60 kilometres an hour. Now, normally they've got a button which engages the pit lane speed limit. Frustration for Joan Mir. He was on his way back into the pits for his wet bike and he crashed.
Across the line, 1.1 second lead over Fabio Quartararo. Here's Joan Mir into the pit lane through turn 3, deep and wide. His first ever flag-to-flag race.
Impressive this by Quartararo as well, isn't it? He's got very limited experience in rain. Kind of course will be the championship. He won't know at the moment that the likes of Mir is out. Bagnaia and Miller have got double long lap penalties.
Into 5th amongst the melee and the drama. And Nakagami and Marquez, Alex Marquez, who was second here, remember, in the wet.
The second this time around.
Oh, what a nightmare this has turned out to be for Suzuki. Yesterday was difficult enough in qualifying.
Mechanics were just telling him to make sure he had the pit lane speed limiter engaged or not, but wow. What French Grand Prix. Valencia 2019 seems like an awful long time ago since both Marquez and Honda.
There from Marc Marquez, 1.5 seconds clear of this young man in second, number 20 on the Yamaha, Fabio Quartararo. And Valentino Rossi at the moment, you can just see there, has actually moved up one spot into 9th ahead of the Aprilia.
Okay, the number 5 in P5. He's being hunted down now by Alex Marquez. That's Alex Rins. Just cases now on the spin without a point for Alex Rins. Double long lap penalty then for 63 and 43. Bad day for long lap penalties.
Yeah, this is the man who leads the World Championship. It doesn't look like he will at the end of proceedings today, as it stands with crime. This man, after everything he's been through, was to come out victorious. There's a lot of race, though. Penalty for the Aussie as well. He's currently in 3rd, but he's still got to take those long lap penalties. And the crew can't believe it. God. Marquez out.
The headset and the clipboard from his crew chief gets an absolute battering. Marquez goes down. Oh, the rear coming round on him.
Same as what happened in morning warm-up, Matt. The same thing happened to him, Marc Marquez. Ready to get on the power.
That was a real big smack on that right arm and right shoulder. The doctors have already told him, don't worry. There's a double long lap penalty coming his way. Marquez rejoins. A rare blunder when leading for him.
Yeah, down what? Jack Miller could still win this despite 2 long lap penalties. Now, wouldn't that be a tale? There are 19 laps to go. The rain...
It's so windy as well. It might actually dry the track quite quickly. Bagnaia also comes in to take his first slim 2-point World Championship lead over our current race leader, Fabio Quartararo.
Right, Quartararo's 2.2. There's then 13 seconds back to Nakagami in 3rd. Zarco, Alex Marquez, Aleix Espargaro, Pol Espargaro and Rossi.
Nello, because Taka Nakagami has been in great chances before to take a first MotoGP podium. He's in clear of this man, Zarco.
The fastest man on circuit at the moment is in 6th place on the Aprilia. Aleix Espargaro's 6th finish, and it might yet get better for the rider heading to his home Grand Prix in a few rounds' time. Here's Valentino Rossi, penalty number 2. You can't go over the white lines, otherwise you'll have to do it again. That was neatly done. And look at that, Miller. He was
getting sweaty straight away, but that was brilliant by Jack Miller. And he's got time. He's got ample time. 17
comes in to pit lane to change. He'd gone into the gravel trap, remember, let's not forget, 60 miles an hour limit. This lap penalties. Now, we have had a rider take a long lap penalty and be on the podium before. Johan Zarco, Bruno. We cannot forget that one.
This Foggia in Portimao last year, that was in Moto 3 on the podium and took a double long lap penalty.
Interesting. Is that mainly down to rider preference?
Noisy down here, guys. guys, quite a few people will go for the soft front tyre, but the problem with the soft rear is movement.
Thank you very much for that, Simon. You just saw there replay footage. Fabio Quartararo pulled into
That scenario creates just a loss of concentration there briefly for a millisecond by Quartararo. That's what enabled actually. Came in for that second long lap penalty, Luke Miller. He was 2.2 seconds behind Quartararo. That advantage is shrinking by the corner.
Darko, the Pramac Ducati rider, he's in fourth, but we'll keep our eyes for now on this battle out front. Quartararo versus Jack Miller. Yeah, it might be because I think by law, as Miller here goes to challenge Quartararo, you have to pull in at Miller. 2 long lap penalties. He goes wide though into turn 6, but he holds his line and he leads again here.
Miller, couple laps maximum, not only to get on par, but to sweep on through the factory Yamaha man.
And he goes straight through. It looks like the rain's picked up slightly there down at turn 8 as well. He'll hold on to second place because the
problem is, Steve, Quartararo was already struggling to run the pace of Miller at this phase of the race, and now with the long lap penalty loop. So
because he'd take the lead of the championship into Mugello. Isn't it amazing how MotoGP can change so quickly? Lead for Quartararo, who's currently in second, and Miller, who's waited 5 long years for a win. Oh dear.
Well, that's gone pop.
That's gone. Now, that's smoke coming directly from the exhaust.
Win hopes, they all went with a big crash at turn 14. Over the handlebars went Marquez to fight his way through as well. Our race winner here in pretty similar conditions in 2020. He's now got himself up into 8th place. And
it is indeed, and that is Miguel Oliveira, who was just up inside the top 10. He'd moved definitely
tied in 11th, and another great point-scoring opportunity goes begging here for the Portuguese man.
See the misery for the Portuguese rider in 2021 continues. Here is Taka Nakagami then, third, fourth.
Not that long ago, and all of a sudden, in the blink of an eye, Zarco's got it down to just over 2 seconds. And Nakagami's going to have big bother come
before, of course, crashing out in Portugal, and then an 8th place, perhaps a little under par in Spain. He'd love to down on Nakagami now.
Yeah, he's much quicker. Much quicker, Steve. 45.8 from Zarco. A 40
in fourth.
She looks like that with 14 laps to go. What's she going to be like in about 20 minutes' time?
Danilo Petrucci's a match. Suzuki can wrap up what has been a truly unmemorable day.
Rins bins it twice. The first one, another no score for Alex Rins. It's been a nightmare start to the season for him.
We are closely approaching. Matt alluded to a moment ago, is the fastest man on the circuit. He is 15th at the...
Yeah, he will know that this was a golden opportunity squandered. Just that little places. Zarco then now about to swarm all over Taka Nakagami's rear tyre. Now the Ducati, he got the drive coming out of the final corner. Nothing Nakagami can do about that. Nakagami, they're trying to keep the inside line. Is there going to be another 4th place coming for poor old Taka Nakagami?
Yeah, Nakagami then 4th. Here are the helicopter shots then down into turn 8, the leading group, as it were. Miller then just going round turn 8 as we speak. Quite a random buses scenario, isn't it? Great job being done by number 73 here, Alex Marquez, who is also now captain. Hello, Simon.
I apologise, guys. I've got so many jacket now. Others starting to warm up the dry bikes.
Oh, wow. Puddles. There is a dry line forming. You wouldn't want to go out on slicks just yet, and it's also worth considering that if you were to come in to change in a lap or so's time, if you're towards the back end of the grid, is it worth a gamble?
At the moment, Miller still 14 seconds off of a dry, slick, fast lap around Le Mans. He'll gamble for somebody to do that.
There you can see the top of your picture on that graphic where Miller is into turn 8. Marquez now approaching. Thing happens down in pit lane.
Good afternoon, Ika. A welcome from Marc Marquez. He's trying to fight back on the world champion as well.
Mr. Rossi himself next up.
Well, the two men by far the quickest riders on the circuit at the moment, Zarco and half of the Rossi family in this MotoGP Grand Prix. Down into turn number 8 garage there, so Mark
up to 2021. It's been a rotten weekend for him, but his name is tumbling down the order unless he's made a mistake.
Really compromised his qualifying, that's why he started 13th place. Looks like he is still upright, but obviously a big mistake somewhere. Conditions that he would be strong. The problem is now, of course, as the track does dry, and it will dry quickly because of that strong wind, not get that rear tyre hooked up. There was no drive grip whatsoever. Quartararo reported that yesterday. Oh, Aleix Espargaro, is that...
It's the most dejected that we've seen Aleix Espargaro so far in 2021. It's coming down the back straight after turn 8, isn't it? On the approach now to turn 9. Yeah, the bike's given up.
No power. No power. So one has had, it's been reliability. Normally, reliability woes have been a persistent problem for Aprilia. They found more horsepower.
Miller to pit lane. What is that signal? The dangling leg to pit lane. Is Jack Miller considering coming in for slicks?
Jack will be in trouble because he's got the soft rear on. Fabio will be in trouble because he's got the soft front on. The next boys are in trouble all the way down to Nakagami, Petrucci, Bagnaia. They're the guys
that at the moment he is closing in on both Miller and Quartararo. Johann Zarco at the moment with that last lap, he was 1.6 seconds quicker than the race leader.
And you can see now as we track Miller from the helicopter shot down into Shimano Vestes, there's no 2 spills for Rins, 2 spills for Marquez. He's down and out. That's game over for him. They don't need to have that second bike ready.
He's going round for one more lap, we could see. This is the replay of the crash at turn 6 then for Mark.
Oh, that was big as well, wasn't it? Fast down into time. Very rare that Marc Marquez has dumped it twice in the same Grand Prix.
Well, if you finish the race at the moment, you're in.
Miller seems to have hit a brick wall in terms of his speed on those rain tyres. They will start overheating, of course, and turn into chewing gum of the dry race pace, but the speed limiting factor right now is the tyres, it's the grip. And Jack Miller may well feel like he can go with slick tyres. That's what he was making sure that he's at the back of his mind. He's thinking about the bike swap. He's thinking about that bike swap.
And the gap now back to him from Quartararo, who we're riding with now, is 4.9 seconds. It's just, you've got to come in and be sure that you're going to then make that time back up on slick tyres on a dry surface with 9 laps to go.
Are going to make some time on the rest because Jack's going to be forced to come in now because of the, the soft front. Johan in the next few laps, and then Johan will be able to come in when it's drier.
Yeah, thanks for that. Well, that's exactly what's happened. You've got to try and assess the conditions underneath you. As a team, you've got to be clever. You've got to give your rider information, your pit...
Alex Marquez, he's upwardly mobile in this Grand Prix as well. He's gone up into 4th place. Nakagami then.
In Le Mans, what a crazy day it has been so far. 8 laps still to go. Ducati's Jack Miller at the moment on course to today as the World Championship leader. Is the 2nd quickest man on circuit. He's in 7th place. And he's it. The sun now beating down the backs of Jack Miller and Fabio Quartararo. There is Johann Zarco. Yes, Johann Zarco is so versatile. He's got a great feel for mixed conditions. He adapts so quickly. And that's going to even quicker dry the surface of this 4.1 kilometre Le Mans circuit. And what that means, of course, as well, it's going, you can see him there on the throttle out of turn 4. He was getting wheel spin on that deteriorating rear wet tyre. Here's a replay into the last 2 turns of Miller's focused eyes. He knows he's on the brink, and that's his rear tyre. Whilst he's got a 6-second lead, he will not be coming into the pit lane, surely. No, and now he's doing mid-143s. It's into the picture for 2nd place here. Zarco at one stage early on, when the track was at its wettest, was struggling very early on. This is just a matter of time, isn't it, for Johann Zarco before he pulls the pin here on Fabio Quartararo. To the inside line, is he close enough? No, he knows he's got the Ducati power underneath him and the grip to be able to do it here on the start. There, he just couldn't get the power to the ground like Zarco could do on the Ducati. So, as it stands, he'd have a 4-point lead over Bagnaia. However, Bagnaia is through on Nakagami, who's plummeting down the order. Pachkin to Zarco. Marc Marquez here has got his head in his hands because he knows that was a missed opportunity from him in the past when he's been in the lead in those kind of conditions. Marc Marquez, costly mistake. What a boost they've been all behind him. A podium would have felt fantastic. A win would have been a dream scenario. Look how quickly Zarco has been able to the podium places. Alex Marquez is way back, 13 seconds back on Quartararo. You cannot now risk coming into the pitch. You're going to lose too much time. Davide Tardozzi there on the right, the team manager, giving 2nd lead. And Johann Zarco has the grip
8/10 quicker on that last lap was Johan Zarco. Petrucci would have wanted a full wet race here to really show his potential on the KTM. What another brilliant rescue job. The top 5, potentially a 4th place from 16th on the grid. That are rides and performances that win you world titles.
Conditions, 16th on the grid as well. The live heart rate at the moment for Quartararo, 141. That's how it would stand. Look at that, that's lovely. 16 points between 4 riders heading into Mugello in now 5.9 seconds to defend.
Wasn't there some crazy stat after Jack Miller won in Spain a couple of weeks ago? It was just their 7th 1-2 last time out in Jerez. They could be making it back-to-back 1-2s here. They've never locked out a podium for that top 2.
It's going to be pretty easy here for Pecco Bagnaia to pull out of the slipstream and move through on Alex Marquez. Further back, Alex Marquez is 5th, it's Petrucci 6th, then Nakagami, Polispargaro, Vinales. Again, he's 13th, and then it's Bastianini, Rabat, Morbidelli, of course, who rejoined late on. Out front, the gap between Miller and...
Pecco Bagnaia has found a way through on Alex Marquez as well. What a charge through the pack it's been. Quartararo is going to comfortably secure a home podium here. No way is he going to reel back in.
5 seconds, the gap has come down to now between Miller and Johan Zarco.
The temperature and pressure in those rain tides.
Now as they cross the line with 3 laps to go, it's 4.9. Surely now Miller, some headaches on Monday after Jerez. There would have been headaches in New Zealand. I know we all know he has Kiwi roots. I hope you're all ready.
Being prepped down under at the moment, potentially for Monday morning back at work. Astonishing, all the criticism. Here he is now, about to take back-to-back wins, 50 points out of the last 50. What a turnaround.
I understand a certain Cal Crutch.
Floodgates will open. He was always one of the big pre-race favourites here. The Ducati likes this stop-and-go Le Mans power down to the ground. Little blip, just a bit of a warning. Still comfortably clear of Johan.
On course here to win his 2nd Grand Prix in as many races, but he's had 2 long lap penalties in a race that's in the press conference when he was 3rd on the grid, and yet to come out on top will feel delicious, especially laps to go.
Quality ride again by Johan Zarco. He's on course to be back on the podium for the first time through La Chapelle. Those tyres, Steve, will just be squirming like crazy underneath these guys now.
In at a rate of 2 seconds per lap. There you can see why. That's the soft front, wet
zone. Some of them are downhill. It's going to be a nightmare for Fabio Quartararo to stop that factory Yamaha. And look at the go stick.
Well, in the past, when we've seen conditions like this and races like this, Marc Marquez has often come out on top, so often in flag-to-flag moments. Across the line we go. It will start now, the last lap of the race. Surely this one is Jack's now. 4.1 kilometres left here.
Let's hope there are no more moments for Miller, because he's been absolutely brilliant. This fires him right back into the championship hunt as well. To their home Grand Prix in Mugello in 2 weeks' time, off the back of back-to-back 1st and 2nd places. Celebration and congratulation tweets back in Bologna right now.
Here is Namibia. He then crashed in Portugal and lost a lot of ground in the World Championship, but
some demons. He's his toughest critic. Nobody's harder on himself than Jack Miller. He knew the start of the championship wasn't good enough. He's all France.
He won in Moto3 here 7 years ago, and he's just got 2 corners left here. Cue pandemonium. Jack Miller, a brilliant ride in the first flag-to-flag race that we've had for a few years. Thumbs take the checkered flag, the championship lead and 3rd, and he is delighted with that.